Manchester United 2, Everton 2, and we're going to break down what we learned from that game. I think out of all the preseason games, that one was definitely the worst for me. I loved the lineup going into it, but it just highlighted, I think, what we already knew about how much we need a midfielder. I felt that physically we got caught out a little bit. I think Everton were better in duel, they were more aggressive. I thought the second half was particularly poor. I thought Mason Mount was very bright in the second half, but it was one of those where I thought, we need to talk about the midfield. We need to talk about Mbeumo, obviously his debut, encouraging signs. I thought he was good in transition, his weight of pass. Amad impressed me. I liked what we saw from Mbeumo. I liked the combinations, particularly on the right-hand side in the first half. But midfield, everyone knows that we need a striker, a goalkeeper, and a midfielder. But I honestly still feel like midfield is more important than striker. Now, look, Cunha has wasted the striker 100%. In the first half, when he was rotating with Mbeumo, who looked better. In the second half, when he was playing striker, he didn't do much. Cunha's wasted a striker, and we do need a striker, don't get me wrong. And Højlund, we can't rely on him. Xerxes good, but again, for midfield. Baleba, do what you can for Carlos Baleba. If Benjamin Sesko goes to Newcastle, I'm not that bothered. I like Sesko, he would improve us. I think he'd be good under Amorim. But midfield for me, I'd rather go into the first game of the season versus Arsenal with Baleba than Sesko. Now, look, I liked this lineup. I liked this team. There's a lot I want to talk about. You swapped Delo for Dorgu. You swap Bayindir for just a competent keeper. I think Heaton's better than Bayindir. You swap Agate for Baleba, and I think that's a good team. And then you can look at potentially bringing a striker in. Dorgu coming in, you've got Shaw and Aiden Heaven that can compete with. Sorry, you've got Leiter and Aiden Heaven that can compete with Luke Shaw there. You've got Mashraoui as well that could come in. I think that's a good team. You get rid of Bayindir and you get rid of Agate and you swap Delo for Dorgu and you bring in a Baleba and you bring in a good goalkeeper. And that's a very good team. And that's without signing a striker. And that's Xerxes still to come in. And that's encouraging signs because I think right now, and this might be an unpopular opinion, we still need a striker. I want us to sign a striker and replace Højlund. But I think right now, I think we're better off going to next season with Højlund and Xerxes than without midfielder. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, for me, I would just go for a midfielder. I just think this game highlighted it because Everton are physical, and I like Bruno Fernandes. I'm Bruno Fernandes' biggest admirer. I think he's great. I think you can put him anywhere, and he will play well because he's a quality player. But what I noticed with Bruno is when you're not playing in the most physical midfields, Bruno's brilliant in the 8 role. He's brilliant deeper. He's brilliant at dictating. But as soon as you play a really physical, aggressive midfield that's going to charge you and press you, Bruno can get caught out there physically off the ball and give the ball away. And I think Bruno was better as a 10 today. And I thought Bruno was quite good in this role that he played today. I quite liked that from Bruno Fernandes. I thought he did well in that role. I think, if we look at the Europa League final, Bruno gave the ball away for the goal. If we look at today in the second half, I felt that he wasn't as good. I think Bruno is an excellent player. It's just an unbelievable, classy player, a proper captain, a proper leader. He's easily our best player. But some games he's better as a 10, some games he's better as an 8, depending on the physicality. I think we tried a few midfield conversations from Bruno and Casemiro to Maino and Agate. And while Maino and Agate were great in that West Ham game, unless we're playing really high up at a certain intensity, I just don't think it works. I thought Maino was good today. I think he took care of the ball well. But I just think we need somebody with the technical qualities of a Stiller, technical qualities of an Andre, technical qualities of an Adam Wharton, but the physical qualities of like an Amadou Onana. I don't think Baleba is possible, but that's what we need. But I do think, if we went into the first game of the season with something like this, I think that would be lovely. I think that would be absolutely lovely stuff. Benjamin Sesko would be great, but Carlos Baleba. So anyway, let's talk about the game. I thought we started okay. I don't think it was amazing. I think first half was very even in general, I think performance-wise, but I was happy with the first half. There was good combinations, but we were giving the ball away, we were winning duels, and I felt, particularly in the second half, Everton were better than us, but I felt that Everton were more aggressive in the duels. They wanted it more. I was so happy with the West Ham and Bournemouth performance because of how good and aggressive and fast Manchester United were, and today we didn't have that. Everton was sharper, they were more aggressive, and we lost control a lot. Build-up was an issue. I felt that we were too central at time, and I don't know if Amorim was experimenting with tactics, but I felt, we don't have the quality in the centre of the park to be the centre. We needed to use the width more, particularly in the second half. The low doesn't give the width the Dorgu gives, however. That's what I thought in general. I will say, I think we do lack height. And I can see, I think an Amadou Onana isn't a bad shout if Baleba isn't possible. And I know he's not the most progressive guy, but Maino is very progressive, and we can play Maino progressive, and we saw that in the first 20 minutes, how Maino was quite progressive in build-up. We need a goalkeeper, we need a centre mid, we need a striker. We all know they're the three positions we need. I think we physically struggled in midfield. Amorim tried a lot of combinations, it didn't work. Everton was sharper, they were more aggressive. I want to talk about Mbeumo. I liked what I saw from Brian Mbeumo. I thought him and Cunha, when they were alternating and there was fluid rotations there, I think it worked particularly well. I thought in the transition opportunities we had, he made the right pass. His decision making was good. The weight of pass was good. I think there was a lot of encouraging signs from Brian Mbeumo, and I liked what I saw. Remember, this is the equivalent of the Leeds game for Brian Mbeumo because this is his first minutes in pre-season, so we've also got to judge him based on that. But I'm also talking about Mason Mount. I think he was the highlight for me. First half, Ahmad was best player. Second half, Mount was the best player. I think if Mount stays fit, it's a really good player to have. Really good competition, healthy competition for Matheus Cunha. Is a really good player in Mason Mount that suits Amorim's system so well if he stays fit. And it's not just the goal, but I thought his pressing, his energy, his touches, his everything was really good when he came on. I think he helped change the tempo. He added energy, pressing. He was good in the tight spaces, always looking for a pass. And I even felt like in transition, he was good at keeping the ball. And I felt that we weren't keeping the ball as well. I think it was a good cameo from Mount. But as I said, I want to talk about the midfield. I want to talk in particular about Agate. For me, Agate was fantastic in the last two preseason games. And in terms of legs, in terms of off the ball, Agate is good. Agate is good on the ball when we're attacking. We're in the attacking half. But when we're in the defensive half, Agate is a pressing trigger. He's not as good on the ball. He can't break the lines with it and have his back to goal. I think he's good on the ball in the final third, but not our third. And I think sometimes we were playing too centrally, and Agate was coming deep, and he should have done a lot better for the goal. But we were losing duels in midfield. We weren't great in build-up, and Arsenal will play on that. Sulemende and Rice will destroy us on that. Of course, goalkeeper Bayendir could have done better. Of course, Bayendir doesn't fill me with confidence. I'm not going to lie. I don't think Bayendir fills many people with confidence. But I saw something about Agate, and I completely agree with this. Agate had two superb games with high pressing and quick possession to start pre-season, but he's been found out massively in the first phase on multiple occasions tonight. 6 is still a glaring issue in the team, with much more effective solutions already found for the 9 spot. And that's the thing. I think Agate isn't 6. I think Agate is a good player with really valuable attributes, and he's not a 6. And the thing is, we spent 50 million on him to be a 6, but actually he's more of an 8. Because when you look at Agate in the Europa League runs when he was really good, Casemiro was playing as a 6 and Agate was coming forward and winning the ball high up and was really good and really aggressive high up. But when we're looking at build-up, there's an issue there. And I think Robbo is absolutely spot on with that analysis. I don't think he could have said it better. There was positives. I loved Ahmad. I thought Yoro was unbelievable. If you don't rate Lenny Yoro, then I won't listen to your ball knowledge. Anyone out there that will talk about the Southampton game and say they don't like Yoro and will bring up that one game versus Southampton, do not take anything they have to say about football seriously. If they do not rate Lenny Yoro, if they do not see that Lenny Yoro is a generational centre-back, their opinion on football is not worth listening to. Lenny Yoro is Rio Ferdinand reincarnated. Lenny Yoro, if he was at Real Madrid or Barcelona, would be talking about as generational. I think Lenny Yoro is fantastic. Lenny Yoro, mint. I liked what I saw from Ahmad. I thought Ahmad and Mbeumo worked well. I liked Cunha in the first half, went invisible in the second half. I liked how he was rotating with Mbeumo. Maino, in the first half, I thought he was combining well, but again, it's not working in midfield. I like Maino, it's not working in midfield. Not him. Thought he was good on the ball. It was Agate that was the big problem today, but Casemiro wasn't great. I don't know how Ineos can watch this Casemiro performance and this midfield performance at Casemiro in pre-season and think, yeah, we're going to drop 80 million on Sesko and we're going to ignore midfield. I don't know why. We need a goalkeeper. We need a midfielder. We do need a striker. Sesko would be great. I just think midfield's more needed. I do think the midfield is more needed. I made other points on the game. I said midfield's clearly an issue. I liked the first half combinations, and I liked that we're moving the ball quick. We were giving the ball away a lot in the first half, and there was a lot of sloppy passes. And both goals were our own doing for giving the ball away and being sloppy and not being on it. We could have stopped both goals today. We should have had another penalty because of the handball. I think Njai actually was offside. So of course, if VAR's there, we probably do win the game. But I think a draw is I think a draw was a very fair result. I think we actually didn't play great, but managed to get a result because we had that quality in the squad and attack. But I just felt that I liked how we were doing the quick passes and quick movement, and I liked the combination, but we did give the ball away a lot. But I understand with the combination and quick 1-2s and one-touch passes, you're going to get that. I liked Mbeumo in transition at 6. Goalkeeper, striker, centre mid. My dream would be Mateta it would be Baleba, and it would have been Joan Garcia. He's gone to Barcelona, but any goalkeeper that we view as good enough. Chevalier, I think he's going to PSG. We need those free signings done. Get Garnacho out the door, get Anthony out the door, get Sancho out the door if you can. We need those free signings. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Bye.